Opposition leader Peter Dutton's proposal to slash the Australian Public Service (APS) workforce has sparked significant controversy. His claim that the plan would yield annual savings of $6 billion, potentially eliminating almost all jobs added under the Labor government, has been met with widespread criticism and accusations of inconsistency. This substantial reduction, projected to accumulate $24 billion in savings over 4 years, is intended to fund the coalition's $8.5 billion commitment to mirroring Labor's Medicare policy. Dutton's statements regarding the specifics of the cuts have been notably vague and contradictory, shifting between sweeping pronouncements and more cautious pronouncements. Initially, he suggested the public service, which he claimed had expanded by 36,000 positions under Labor at an annual cost of $6 billion, would undergo significant reduction. This figure was subsequently contested by various government ministers, who provided a more detailed breakdown of the new positions: approximately 4,000 at Services Australia, 4,000 across Defence, Home Affairs, and the Australian Federal Police, 3,600 at the National Disability Insurance Agency, 3,000 at the Australian Taxation Office, and 1,000 at the Department of Veterans Affairs. Further fueling the confusion, conflicting statements from senior coalition members have emerged. While Nationals leader David Littleproud initially declared that all 36,000 positions would be eliminated, he later retracted this statement, asserting that few cuts would be necessary. Dutton himself has avoided specifying the number of job losses, suggesting a focus on eliminating roles in diversity and inclusion, DEI, change management, and internal communication. These areas, however, represent a small fraction of the total APS workforce. Shadow Finance Minister Jane Hume suggested that natural attrition would play a key role in achieving the proposed workforce reduction. Shadow Minister for Government Efficiency Jacinta Nampijinpa-Price initially stated that the coalition would not cut jobs, but rather halt growth. This was later amended to include sensible reductions to the APS. The lack of clarity and the contradictory statements from within the coalition have raised serious concerns about the viability and impact of Dutton's plan. The ambiguity surrounding the exact targets, the methods employed, and the potential consequences for public services raises significant questions about the plan's transparency and potential for negative impacts across various government sectors. The ongoing debate underscores the political ramifications of this proposed workforce reduction and the need for a more detailed and transparent explanation of its implementation. The implications for affected workers and the wider Australian community remain uncertain, necessitating a comprehensive and detailed public discussion of the coalition's proposed APS restructuring. The overall economic consequences and the potential disruption to essential public services require thorough investigation and detailed assessment prior to implementation. The contrasting statements from key figures within the coalition highlight a critical lack of cohesion and strategic planning, further exacerbating concerns regarding the potential negative repercussions of this controversial proposal. The lack of a clear, consistent message underscores a broader problem of leadership and communication within the opposition party. The conflicting narratives cast a significant shadow over the coalition's credibility and raise serious doubts about its preparedness to govern effectively. The current ambiguity surrounding the plan's specifics underscores the urgent need for greater transparency and detailed policy outlining the proposed cuts, their potential impact, and the mechanisms for implementation. Without greater clarity, the uncertainty surrounding Dutton's plan will likely continue to fuel public debate and opposition. The plan's potential impact on essential public services and the Australian economy necessitates a comprehensive and independent review before any implementation proceeds. The lack of concrete details and the fluctuating statements from leading coalition members have created a climate of uncertainty, raising questions about the party's commitment to responsible governance and fiscal management. The significant discrepancies between initial pronouncements and subsequent clarifications have significantly undermined public trust and raised concerns about the lack of strategic foresight in formulating such a crucial policy proposal. The absence of a clear and consistent message further underscores the need for more robust policy development and communication strategies within the coalition. The profound implications of this proposed workforce reduction require careful consideration and a thorough, transparent explanation that addresses the concerns of affected workers and the broader Australian community. The lack of transparency and conflicting information from senior coalition members seriously undermines the credibility of the proposed plan and raises significant concerns about its potential impact on public services and the Australian economy. Furthermore, the potential for significant disruption and the lack of a clear strategy for mitigating negative consequences underscore the need for a more detailed and comprehensive approach to policy development. The inconsistent messaging and lack of specific details cast a pall of doubt over the coalition's capacity to manage complex issues effectively and responsibly. The lack of clarity regarding the target departments, the process of workforce reduction, and the associated support measures for affected workers points to a serious deficiency in planning and implementation strategy. This fundamental flaw calls into question the viability and overall effectiveness of the proposed plan. The contradictory statements, the lack of detail, and the conflicting messages from senior members highlight a failure of leadership and a lack of cohesive planning. The plan's vague nature and inconsistent articulation are deeply problematic, raising serious doubts about its feasibility and potential negative impacts on both public services and the national economy. The lack of a clear and transparent plan breeds uncertainty and mistrust, eroding public confidence in the coalition's governance capability. The absence of a well-defined strategy for managing the workforce reduction, including support mechanisms for affected employees and plans to mitigate potential disruptions to public services, is a major concern. The inconsistencies and lack of transparency create an environment of uncertainty that hinders effective scrutiny and prevents informed public debate. The absence of a clear and comprehensive plan increases the risks of unintended negative consequences and erodes public trust in the coalition's ability to manage the complexities of public administration. The continued lack of clarity and detail regarding the planned workforce reduction severely limits informed public discourse and raises serious concerns about the potential for unintended and negative consequences. This further emphasizes the urgent need for comprehensive and transparent information regarding the coalition's plan. The government needs to provide detailed specifics of its plan for APS workforce reduction.